I'd like to start off this video by apologizing for any difference in audio quality you may or may not notice in this episode. The reasons for this are quite simple. My parents decided to do some renovations on the second floor where my room is, and therefore I have been exiled to the basement temporarily until that is resolved. With that out of the way, hello Mayors-to-be, I'm Ian, and this is the Streets of Rogue Character Guide series, where we look at the best and worst this game has on offer, and I show you how to become mayor with them, because everything is a bad idea until it works. Today, as you could tell by reading the title and thumbnail of this video, we'll be covering the Goon. So without further ado, let's get into it. The Goon is acquired from the Character Pack DLC, meaning you'll need to spend real-world money if you wish to play this character. As for their backstory, it reads, working for the mayor as an anonymous goon has its drawbacks. For starters, their life consists of waiting around for some reckless oaf from the resistance to try to neutralize them for some unspecified reasons. However, the goon has recently done some soul-searching and had a major revelation. What if they were that reckless oaf? As for your starting stats, you have an average of 2 in speed and endurance, with your combat attributes of melee and firearms set to an above average of 3. Combine these above average stats with your decent starting gear of a pistol, a knife, and a kill immunizer, and you'll be more than well equipped to deal with anything prior to the parks with lethal force if you so desire. And better yet, thanks to your no infighting trait, you don't need to worry about friendly fire whatsoever. And your wrong building trait makes it so that you can enter buildings without the consent of the owner as long as you don't steal or break anything in their line of sight. This in some instances means that fighting the security of a building is completely redundant and unnecessary. However, regardless of how you feel about fighting other NPCs, you're going to be required to do that in waves during your big quest. Speaking of which, let's move on to that.
Yo, did you even see me hitting you?
Your big quest is called Guard Duty. In this quest, you are assigned a building to guard. Simply head up to the building's owner, who will be conveniently marked with an orange arrow over their head, and speak with them when you're ready to begin the first wave. Once you do this, a bunch of NPCs who will also have orange arrows over their head will try to kill the NPC you just spoke with's life for stealing one of their sacred orange arrows. Thankfully, once you start this quest on each floor, all NPCs loyal to the quest-giving NPC you spoke with to start this mission on each floor will become allied to you, making the fight a lot easier since your no infighting trait will mean you don't have to worry about accidentally killing them in friendly fire. But better still, the NPCs that become allied to you from this big quest will actually vote in your favor, meaning that if you can keep the building population alive during your big quest, you can actually improve your electability quite considerably on each floor. You also get a paycheck once you dispose of all the hostile NPC spawns this quest will generate based on how many of the building staff survive. 50 money per survivor to be exact. Amusingly, with this big quest, while it is encouraged, it is not required for you to keep anyone alive whatsoever, and property damage isn't factored in at all on whether or not you completed this mission. This means that if you are given a mission to, say, protect some vampires from NPCs trying to hunt them down, all the vampires in their house can be burned to the ground completely, and as long as you kill the NPCs in revenge, you'll still be able to complete this quest. You won't get any money from this, obviously, but the quest will be complete at least. Interestingly, in my experience, this quest can be a bit buggy if the NPCs living in the building you're supposed to protect all die before the NPCs who are supposed to try to kill them all spawn in. This can easily happen on the later floors where they tend to spawn in greater numbers in buildings that don't necessarily have a high population count. The reason for this is pretty simple. The NPCs that come in to try to kill the people you're supposed to protect are designed to simply hunt down the NPC you talk to start this quest, and should they die, their AI will bug out and have no idea where to go, which means they'll just kinda stand wherever they spawned until you show up. For obvious reasons, the difficulty of this quest can vary wildly on a floor-to-floor basis, since sometimes you're defending a lone shack with a single NPC inside from over a dozen hostile invaders, whilst other times you're protecting a super cop police station in the uptown section alongside the super cops. If you reach the mayor's village having done this quest correctly, you'll be promoted to Super Goon, turning your jacket red with the blood of your enemies, and your endurance, speed, and firearm stats will all get a +1. Due to the nature of your quest, you'll obviously wish to focus your efforts on improving your combat ability as much as possible through traits like Modern Warfare or Lock and Load. Please bear in mind that while the kill immunizer will help you manage your ammo supply by giving you free ammo with all of your firearms on every third kill, if you're only using a single armament at all times, you'll quickly run out of ammo far faster than you'll be getting those third kills. This can easily be remedied, however, by simply having multiple guns in your inventory. Because of this, I strongly recommend having multiple firearms in your inventory at all times. That way you can always have something to swap to for when the gun you're currently using runs dry. I also strongly recommend using the subscribe seed if you're having trouble, since not only is it what you should be doing, but there's also a bottle of Resurrection shampoo that can easily be acquired from a mission in the slums as a reward, as well as a pond in the park levels that gives the same effect, meaning you can die even more than normal on a typical playthrough when using this seed. All in all, I give the Goon a kitchen sink out of 10. This character just feels like an above-average character meant to let you test out what was probably going to be the Bouncer's big quest before it got changed to the escort mission it is now. As a result of this, the Goon character pretty much exists exclusively so that you can experience everything the Character Pack DLC has to offer without needing to make a custom character in order to do so. That's all for now, though. Like the video if you did. We recently passed 4,000 subscribers on this channel recently, so I'll be making a video showing off how I make YouTube videos on this channel in celebration of that. Aside from that, we also have the Mech Pilot Guide coming up soon after that, so subscribe if you don't want to miss any of that. But with that said, I've been Ian, you have been you, and this has been the Streets of Rogue Character Guide to the Goon.